Oh man, how much I missed it.
Play left side, big hole, Saquon Barkley! Uh-oh!
I would lie to you if I said I didn't. It wasn't like, finally.
That it was. The Eagles finally unlocked the running game. And honestly, they unlocked a heck of a lot of other things too. In this video, we'll look into just how much Kevin Patullo's play calling improved, Jalen Hurts playing at an MVP level, and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert deserving of some serious credit. Plus, we got a new RB2, the magic of the Kelee greens, and the pass rush found itself, but that does not mean Howie Roseman won't make a move. So let's talk about that, the Giants whining about the refs, and a statement Philly sent to the rest of the NFL. But first, let's run it.
Yeah, I think the best is yet to come.
What's up, guys? Wow, we needed Sunday big time, and I know it was just the Giants, so we take that a little bit of a disclaimer, but I can't help but allow some excitement to creep in after that win. Because come on, we witnessed the second best offensive game from any NFL team this season.
Is that true?
I know that's crazy, but yes, I double-checked, and that is right. 8 possessions, 5 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 1 missed field goal, 1 punt, and no turnovers netted the Eagles the second best EPA per drive out of all the games played so far in the NFL. Wild, like I say, but let me put it into terms that make that performance even more impressive. So get this, the Birds' offensive dominance Sunday was their best drive efficiency since Super Bowl 52 against the Patriots. That's right, that means Kevin Patullo's offense also had a better efficiency rating than the Super Bowl game last year and the NFC Championship game. You know, when Philly hung 55 on Washington. So, it's fair to say KP was filling it to help call an offense that had 250-plus rushing yards and 4 passing touchdowns in the same game for the first time since 1990.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
To be fair, the players absolutely made plays, but at the same time, if I'm going to be critical, so I want to hold myself accountable, but if myself and us who were critical of Kevin Patullo are going to do that, then we also have to give praise whenever he deserves it, and KP was in his bag on Sunday. Like, I barely recognized the offense. We saw a variety of run calls, great sequencing, different formations, play action throws over the middle, and basically different plays that kept the Giants off balance all game. That being said, it's no coincidence Week 8 marked their first time all year the Eagles outgained their opponent.
I think he's gained confidence and gained assurance in what he sees and what he believes as time is going on. And so, again, I look at how are we helping him? How are we playing penalty free? Are we mastering the things that take no talent? Are we getting in and out of the huddle? The little things that can help all of us and help the play caller find the rhythm in what he does. And so we're very critical of that. I'm very critical of that. That's always something that I'm talking about. But we just want to continue to build. And he's been rolling. The best of them usually are able to attack people in different ways, and they can pick their poison in that. And I do think that element of what we do, it has always done something for us. And we just want to continue to build off of that. I enjoy being under center and being able to complement things within our run game and find a flow. But ultimately, I think it's about finding a flow in what you do. It's not necessarily you stick a guy under center, or you're playing from the shotgun, or you're in the pistol. It's about what are you doing when you're under center. How are we leveraging what we do? How are we leveraging the guys? What guys, what spots are we putting guys when we're in these different positions? And so we just want to continue to build off of it. Obviously, a big time for us is always going into the bye week and being able to assess that and have a reset a bit and build forward.
Honestly, watching the game back a couple times now, even the stuff that wasn't working was still kind of working. Or at least from a play calling perspective it was. Like Eric pointed to, the Eagles ran a sweet 3-man route combination that would have gotten Saquon wide open on a corner route. As you can see, the play call was there, but the pocket collapsed and thus killed the play. Also, another time that I really loved was KP calling a jet sweep to wide receiver Xavier Gibson. Like, the play is there to be made for a big gain if he cuts it up inside, but Gibson chooses to bounce outside and limit the potential. Regardless, it ended up not mattering, and it ultimately was just so nice to see the offense fully unlocked and play 4 quarters of football. Seriously, in case you just somehow overlooked this, the Birds scored in every single quarter on Sunday.
I didn't think that was possible.
I'm not sure that I did either, but thanks to that output and the Eagles win, I'm going to give away 2 Eagles tickets to any game of your choice to 1 lucky subscriber. All you got to do, like always, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and then go comment down in the comment section what was the biggest reason for the Eagles to unlock the offense on Sunday. Remember, I'm doing these ticket giveaways all season long after every Eagles win, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out. After all, it's free to subscribe, doesn't cost you a thing, and I've got so many more things planned the bigger this thing gets. Okay, so thinking about the biggest reason for success, I've personally got to go with the running game. Because I'm sorry, but Philadelphia Eagles football is not averaging 88 yards rushing per game through 7 weeks of the season. And especially after getting clowned by the Giants in Week 6, there was only one way to come back and make a statement. That was exactly being more physical and getting the rushing attack going. Which I gotta just say, thankfully, Jeff Stoutland units did that. Since after getting outrushed 172 yards to 73 yards in Week 6, the Birds flipped the script to outrush the Giants 261 to 66. I mean, I get that it's Eagles football, right? So we were expecting this, needing this, you have all the pieces in play to do it. But when you do the math there, that's like a 300-yard reversal, and to see that just a couple weeks difference, that's insane. But like I said to start this thing off, that was exactly what we all needed.
Play left side, big hole, Saquon Barkley! Uh-oh!
Are you serious? Saquon Barkley, he's
Yes!
back, baby! He's officially back! No flag, 7-0 Philadelphia, yes!
Saquon is back!
I would lie to you if I said I didn't. It wasn't like finally.
Here is Barkley sprinting through! Saquon Barkley! 31 after losing 21. I'm just going to run it this time to Bigsby, who still on his feet. Tank Bigsby's got a first down.
For us, it wasn't just about like the weight being lifted off our shoulders. We just wanted to be the more physical team today. It didn't matter what it looked like. I'm glad we got touchdowns. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he went 65 on that one. That was nice to see, but yeah, we're just trying to be the more physical team today.
I feel like mission accomplished there, yeah.
Mission accomplished. I think we just wanted it more. For some of us, it was a little bit more than that. And for others, it was just making sure that we're all on the same point, and I think we just wanted it more today.
When you're able to run the ball efficiently like that, it kind of gives you a flow a bit. And so proud of how we were able to run the ball.
It only took 7 or 8 games, but it finally happened. And honestly, it was exactly what the doctor ordered. Who knew? All you got to do when things are stuck in a rut is dial up some Kelee Green magic. Because not only are the Eagles 6-2 or better for the 4th straight season, but now they're also 5-0 since bringing back and wearing the Kelee Green jerseys. Although, come on, that doesn't have anything to do with Philly's success.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
You know what they say, it's only crazy if it doesn't work. And not sure if you realize this, but it took Kellen Moore's offense until 6-2 in 2024, which was Week 9 with the earlier bye, before they scored their first points in the first quarter all season. Whereas this year, it also took Patullo until 6-2, which was Week 8 because of the later bye, for Philly to finally unlock the running game. The crazy part is, guess what the Birds were wearing both times they've broken the terrible streaks of misfortune?
Absolutely. I told Saquon it's something about these Kelee Green uniforms, so it feels good.
If only the Eagles would wear Kelee Greens all the time. However, I know that's a very debatable topic. We'll get some people triggered, so we will not go there. What we do need to get into, though, and I think we can all agree on this, is the difference that under center plays have. Because like I said earlier, the running game unlocks everything. And the best way to do that is under center, with no better case to be made than KP calling 24 plays in that alignment that accounted for 44% of the offense's yards. Which, a couple things on that. One, the O-line had been very outspoken about how they prefer under center. Saquon, not so much, or more so that he could play from the gun and from under center. Yet he did admit under center allows him to get downhill quicker. And then 2, the second point here is, despite a lot of talking heads saying Jalen Hurts can't or doesn't want to run plays from under center, he proved them wrong, once again.
I don't think there's anything that we can't do. It's a matter of, are we working towards it and working in it the right way? So I look at it that way. And then to your initial question, there's always that period where you go through it, and as a quarterback, I embrace that, and it's obviously my responsibility in it. I will be the first one that everyone looks at with that, and that's something I accept, but it's a collective in that and trying to build it out. And there's a natural kind of onboarding and processing period of putting things together so you can be what you want to be. We're always in this process of becoming. It's the reality of it. The goal is to be playing your best ball at the end of the season. And there's a process that you have to go through to get that. There are going to be tests along the way, but you have to embrace those challenges as they come, and I think we do that as a group.
You would think by now that people would stop doubting Hurts and stop putting him in boxes. I mean, take your pick. It's Jalen can't win throwing the football, Jalen can't throw from the pocket, Jalen doesn't want to throw over the middle, or Jalen will never be able to beat the blitz. And yet, just like every other response, QB1 has literally turned a weakness into a strength. With Jeff Kerr noting that this season, especially when he's blitzed, Hurts has a 72% completion percentage, 747 yards, 11 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and a 134.5 rating. Oh, for those counting, only Sam Darnold has a higher passer rating against the blitz than Hurts, and only Matthew Stafford has more touchdown passes when blitzed than Hurts does. However, when it comes to a couple other areas, there's not a better quarterback in the league than Hurts. For instance, Jalen is the first quarterback in NFL history with at least 15 touchdown passes, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 1 or fewer interceptions in his team's first 8 games of a season. But maybe more impressively, Hurts has 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 games, along with, listen to this, only 9 incomplete passes. By the way, one more thing, in case you didn't realize this, the Hurts to J-Dot bomb in the fourth quarter marked QB1's 100th career touchdown pass. Not gonna lie, pretty cool to see that connection, and there's no doubt this offense is back on track.
Is it safe to say this offense is now on the same page?
It sure felt like it, and it sure looked like it. It was a good outcome for us to get those big plays that we're always looking for. Get the run game going. That's been a big emphasis for us, and get back in the W column.
Look, winning is the only thing that matters, but when Jalen has 20 total touchdowns, only 1 interception, and an NFC best 6 wins, he's at least got to be in the MVP conversation. Mind you, this is all while playing the second toughest schedule in the entire league. I mean, I know, I'm biased, but it's blatantly obvious that Jalen is on the best stretch of his life, and really one of the best stretches we've ever seen by an Eagles quarterback. FYI, his passer rating the last 2 weeks has made him only the 3rd quarterback in Eagles history to be over 140 in back-to-back weeks, along with Randall Cunningham and Nick Foles. Just saying, if this group can play with the balance and aggression that they did on Sunday, there's nobody who can stop them. Or I don't know, I guess you could argue themselves, or if there's injuries that come into play, fingers crossed, prayers that, we could stay healthy. But I'm not falling for the this team would be better without AJ argument. Yes, I'll give you credit, he did some goofy stuff, deleting old Twitter posts praising Jalen, and has definitely been a distraction at times. However, listen to the team talk about him, see the variety KP dialed up on Sunday, and there's no reason they can't be even more effective adding in 11. Either way, I'm going to move on there, but kudos to the fellas who did step up with the other starters in absence. Because I've given Brett Toth quite a bit of flack, and rightfully so, for some poor play in the past, yet against the Giants, Toth came to work, garnering praise from QB1 and several O-linemen. And yes, to his credit, Toth picked up some really good blocks in the ground game and the screen game, which was honestly the case for all the big men up front.
One of the reasons why the Eagles were so good in the run game on Sunday was they used a lot of pin and pull. Like Dickerson pins Dexter Lawrence and Toth pulls on Okereke, and Barkley goes for 8 yards. They ran it left and they ran it right. You watch Lane right here on the pin right here by the tight ends. And now Lane gets out wide and Toth comes out and Malata's downfield and Barkley goes for 28. All right? These pin and pulls were great. You watch Goedert right here on Brian Burns and he gets Lane out on Banks right here. And there comes Toth pulling around. He was great, by the way, at center all day. And then was over here on the left side. You're going to get Dickerson and Toth on a gut right here, pin and pull. Here we go. And there goes Bigsby. I mean, 2 backs over 100 yards. Like they've been waiting to get these toss cracks and pin and pulls and some of these plays in the playbook. Last week was play action. This week it was pin and pull, and the offense gets better and better.
They did 8.4 yards per carry for the entire game against the New York Giants. So 8.4 yards per carry. But better than that, it was 10.6 yards per carry when they were under center. And that was the most by any NFL team in any game this season. Realize how many times I'm saying that, the most in different metrics for categories here. This Eagles offense is beginning to hit their stride. Again, you hear that and see plays like Landon Dickerson made on the opening run to pick up 3 different defenders and tell me I'm crazy that I'm starting to get 2024 vibes.
Do me a favor, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Okay, fine. Still a long ways to go, and yes, the Giants were playing multiple backups on Sunday. At the same time, the Eagles didn't have their full complement of weapons either, but were able to dominate in a way we hadn't seen all year. By the way, this is the part where we give Fred Johnson his flowers because the dude was only on the field for 12 of the Birds' 33 rushes. However, they picked up 129 yards on those 12 plays. Now, I hear what you're saying about some of the big explosive runs, but even take away the home run hitter at the beginning, and they were still averaging over 6 yards per play with Fred on the field. So yeah, pretty impressive, but when you break it down even further, Fred's been doing this all season. Like, get this, the 28-year-old has run 78 plays, and Philly's EPA is over plus 12.
You lost me.
Okay, stick with me. Better way to look at this then. While Fred's only been on the field for about 17% of the snaps this season, when he is on the field, those plays have generated almost 40% of the team's positive plays this season. I don't know, honestly, making Fred a full-time tight end 2 kind of makes a whole lot of sense. Granted, the backup who without a doubt earned more snaps in the future was Tank Bigsby. Because 100% the O-line deserves some credit, but this dude lived up to his name on his 9 carries. I mean, come on, 104 yards, 5 10-plus yard gains, and 4 missed tackles forced? Yeah, that's why you traded 2 draft picks for him, not to have him return kickoffs. Seriously, you've unlocked the running game, now you have the 1-2 punch of Saquon and Tank Bigsby, and that's not even mentioning Will Shipley. Again, this running game is just finding itself, but the fellas never doubted it.
I knew, the same player I was last year is still here, but I just continue to stick to my routine, continue to fall in love with the process, and at some point we knew it was going to crack, and now we got built on it. The week before we threw for over 300 yards, and now we rushed for almost 300 yards, and now we got to continue to find a balance. So bye week, heal up, get away from each other a little bit. That's always a good thing. But then when we come back, we got to get rolling.
I'm telling you, just like last year, this season's bye week is coming at the perfect time. Meanwhile, unlike last year, where the Eagles were 13th in red zone offense, Kevin Patullo is doing something pretty much unheard of. After another successful day in that area, the Birds are now first with 17 touchdowns in 20 tries, leaving Hurts to admit KP has a really good feeling in the red zone.
No, that's too far.
But to see the Birds scoring 85% of the time, scoring touchdowns in the red zone, is pretty much absurd. Because for comparison, last season with Kellen Moore, the Eagles scored touchdowns only 58% of the time. Now, who knows if they can realistically keep those levels up, but with the consistency of the receivers on top of the ground game getting going, I wouldn't say it's impossible. Of course, on the topic of receivers, Devontae Smith has been straight up balling, where over the last 4 weeks, only one wide receiver has more receiving yards, and that would be Jamar Chase. Yet here's the thing, while Chase has Smitty in that area, the Slim Reaper is much more reliable, because Devontae hasn't dropped a single pass this season. So, when we talk about Jalen going through the best stretch of his career, Smitty is doing the same thing. Just like Dallas Goedert, quite honestly. Heck, the tight end joined elite company after catching his 6th and 7th touchdowns this season, making him only the 3rd tight end along with Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski as the only ones since 2015 to have 7 or more touchdowns in their first 7 games played of a season. If you're trying to do the math there, don't worry, remember, he missed the Kansas City game due to injury, so only 7 games so far for Goedert. Anyway, on the topic of injuries, the biggest question was seeing Saquon Barkley check himself out of the game with a groin injury versus the Giants. However, the good news is that it sounds like he could have gone back in if Philly had really needed him and should be good to go with an extra week of rest in the bye week.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it. I mean, I came off, but I've dealt with this before. Nothing crazy, but it's a long season, and I try my best to always listen to the trainers and listen to the coaches, and they feel like they would be able to put the game out without me. So it was fun to be a cheerleader, and I guess on the sideline and see Tank and Will go out there.
Did you fight to get back in?
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't, I didn't go out. I went out swinging. Let's say that. But Tom's been doing this for a very long time, and I know that was a smart thing to listen to him.
There you go. Fortunately, nothing major. There was a very brief amount of anxiety in that moment, but nothing major. Should be back. Eagles also getting back A.J. Brown, Cam Jurgens on the defensive side, BG Nolan Smith. I'll get into the pass rush here a little bit more in a second. Adoree Jackson, Jakorian Bennett also should be coming back. Things are, again, they're trending in the right direction. Bye week at the perfect time. You're feeling the vibes. I'm trying to not get carried away here, but it's hard not to. By the way, if I had to guess, I think Howie may stay put as far as a cornerback goes because they still haven't seen what Jakorian Bennett can do. Having said that, Kelee Ringo deserves a ton of credit for not allowing a single catch on Sunday. Which, come on, that's pretty remarkable that in 3 targets he didn't allow a single catch, especially considering that he got worked 2 weeks ago by Jackson Dart and Lil Jordan Humphrey. Again, if CB2 can hold up, then it just makes Vic Fangio's defense a nightmare to deal with. After all, just take a look at Jackson Dart's passing chart and the entire right side of the field. It was completely wiped away thanks to Quinyon Mitchell. Well, and thanks to the refs, according to Giants fans. After a big play to Darius Slayton was called back following an offensive pass interference call on cue, leaving Giants head coach Brian Daboll to throw a temper tantrum on the sidelines about how the contest was completely rigged against him. Oh, but shout out to Jimmy Kempski, who happened to get a pic of the heated incident of Daboll on the sidelines going nuts. Look, in all seriousness, that game was terribly officiated, possibly the worst one of the entire season, but it did go both ways. Yet I'm not seeing as much outrage over the blatant tackle of Nakobe Dean that wasn't called a hold that, resulted in a Giants touchdown, or the play before the tush push where Hurts clearly got the first down but was marked short. Granted, yes, seeing the tush push and then Jalen fumble not being called a fumble did feel like a fortunate gift.
He said they called the forward progress before he reached the ball out. So sounds like some to me, but
you didn't hear a whistle, right?
That's the hard part about the tush push. Yeah, sorry. I mean, that was a great call by the ref.
I can honestly say, had the roles been reversed there, yes, I would have been heated, I would have been upset. There's still other instances, like I pointed out there, that did not get called, but ultimately the Eagles made more plays when it mattered most. Also, let me just say this, as much as I like to joke and troll rivals following a game, I am 100% praying for Cam Skattebo. Because I don't care what team you play for, you never want to see anyone get injured, and especially in that fashion the way that Skattebo did. But back to the Eagles making plays, how great was it to see the Eagles come away with 5 sacks? Which, for the record, those 5 sacks were their most in their last 14 regular season games, and the best part might have been that it was everybody contributing. Not to mention that Philly entered as a bottom 5 unit in sacks. However, in just one game, they're now all the way up to tied for 17th in that category. Now, one guy I've got to give a shout out to is Moro Ojomo. Because, man, this dude only had 1 sack in 29 played games before this year. Yet now, through 8 games in 2025, he has a team-high 4 sacks. Of course, the entire unit deserves credit, but Jalyx Hunt was clearly the most deserving of a sack on Sunday, as the Hunter 2.0 finished with a career-high 9 pressures against the Giants and had 1 sack on Jackson Dart. Honestly, if you were watching, he could have very easily had 2 to 3 others, but he's been super close, can't get the job done. Thankfully, he got the 1. I still think it's only a matter of time. He's going to have a multiple sack game. Still, though, Hunt was a very strong run defender, as New York averaged just 3.8 yards per carry on his side when they ran towards him. In fact, according to beat writer Jimmy Kimsky, Hunt's been playing so well that he argued, with that, Nolan Smith returning, BG returning, and the other edges holding up well, does maybe Howie Roseman not necessarily spend a hefty resource to get an edge ahead of the deadline?
No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
I think it's fairly obvious the pass rush still needs help even after the promising showing. And chances are that happens in the near future after both Adam Schefter and Jay Glazer reported that the Eagles are making calls for help in that area ahead of the deadline. Also, just for the record, there had been some controversy about if the Cowboys had tried to see about trading for Max Crosby and or Trey Hendrickson, and multiple reports over the weekend confirmed that they had made that call. It's just that the Raiders and Bengals both said absolutely not to get rid of their premier pass rushers. Who knows? It feels like Las Vegas is not selling despite how bad they are. And it seemed like that was the case with Cincinnati as well after the Joe Flacco resurgence. Although shockingly, they lost to the Jets this past weekend, so perhaps Hendrickson isn't totally out of the question. But as I've continued to say, the Miami Dolphins feel like the most realistic scenario if Howie was to make a move. Yet even there, I understand the counter-argument that there's maybe a little bit of a hold on the situation now, seeing as though they surprisingly upset the Falcons. Either way, I'll keep you updated if anything picks up or we get an official move. Here's the beauty. The Eagles have an incredibly good grip on the NFC East and are right up there with a chance to take the top spot in 2 weeks when they play the Packers in Green Bay. Plus, for all the hoopla regarding the leaky run defense, Nakobe Dean seems to have brought stability to that area of Fangio's defense, with Sunday marking the lowest total allowed all year at 68 yards and a 3.2 yards per carry. The only negative, unfortunately, is that it's just resulted in rookie Jahad Campbell not seeing the field as much. But I'm sorry, it's 100% a great problem to have of too many good linebackers. Also, you can call me crazy here, but I still think that the Eagles are going to have a top 5 defense by the time this season is over. After all, like Reuben Frank reminded, this is the youngest defense in the NFL, they have a mastermind coach, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. And honestly, that's both sides of the ball with the vibes pretty high.
277 yards. We had 200-yard backs. Now we're 6-2. We have to have that same fire for growth because it sets us up for the rest of the season, right? Same fire from you guys to rest, recover, look at it. Same fire from the coaches, right? This is such a big week coming up, and I'll see you next Monday.
How can that not put a smile on your face? 6-2 and sitting pretty. Anyway, you guys let me know. Final takeaways from the game there, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let me know everything else. Make sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, drop a like, comment, get entered for the giveaway. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.
Like I should